From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Manos, and welcome to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. In this episode, the pride of Ellaville, Georgia. One of our favorite singer-songwriters, Brent Cobb, joins us in studio. Brent has a new record coming out September the 22nd. He's got an Americanafest gig to celebrate that, and a Brooklyn Bowl show on Friday, December 1st of 2023 in Nashville. An always entertaining chat with our friend Brent Cobb. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, y'all. I know Brent Cobb personally. And he's sitting right here in front of us, Kelly said.
I don't know how you got him to come in. It's early, and he's out of state now. This is a big deal.
I know. Yeah, he had the cutest story a little bit ago. I said, you're not still in Donaldson, are you? And he's, no. Good morning and welcome to Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Morning. Glad to be here. Yeah, we're not quite local anymore. We live back in Georgia now, But I was telling you, my daughter, this morning I was talking to her before I came over, and she said, Daddy, take a picture of the old Nashville house. You know, this is our old neighborhood right here.
So how old is she now?
9. And
oh, wow.
My son's 4. And, yeah, I get a little sentimental every time I come over here to the old neighborhood.
Charlie thinks you left because of too much Jeannie Seeley over there on Pennington.
Well, was your neighbor close over there, right?
Carly Pierce.
Carly Pierce,
yeah. It just kept going downhill, huh?
Man, Pennington being such a cool spot. It was a cool little era. In
well, Porter, famously.
Totally.
And Porter, he loved being so close to work. Back when Opryland was in full operation.
Imagine. That's what we was talking about, that guy that owned the last dairy farm in town.
In Davidson County, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have the money to, but I wanted to just go over there and just be like, man, would you ever sell this place? Because how cool would it be to have a little country farm right here in town?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I won't.
He sold it, now it's going to be condos.
You can come help me milk, but no, I'm not going to sell it.
That's what he said. You can come out here and work.
Yeah, that's right. I can put you to work. I need a farm hand.
Yeah.
New album, September the 22nd, which is about 10 days from today. And you're playing the Brooklyn Bowl on Friday, December 1st.
Yes, sir. Yep. And we're going to do a thing at Imogene and Willie's next Friday. It'll be a free show during Americanafest, but the first, our show will be then at Brooklyn Bowl.
And that's over in off of 12 South, too, right? Yeah. Boy, that neighborhood's taken off in the last decade, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We were supposed to be the opening band to ever play at Nashville's Brooklyn Bowl, and then 2020 happened, and so this will be our first time getting back and getting a chance to play over there.
You've had some pretty good gigs this year, though, touring with playing for a few people, huh?
Yeah. We did the Luke Combs Stadium tour, and it was incredible. It was pretty surreal. I met Luke in 2014. I had a buddy of mine who said, man, I got a friend, a singer. He just moved to town. He just wants to hang out with you. He's a fan of your music, wants to ask you some questions, and maybe have a beer or something. I was like, well, I don't know what I can tell him, but I could surely sip on a drink. And so we hung out, and it was Luke Combs. And then a couple years later, 2016, my Shine on Rainy Day came out, and I was in New York and was negotiating the record deal at the time, and Combs sent me his SoundCloud link to that album that had Hurricane and all that stuff on it, and I sent him Shine on Rainy Day. Of course, his blew up, right? And mine got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah. But, don't sell yourself short.
I ain't. But he, while I was over there eating that, I was focusing on eating the jerk chicken, and I think he was thinking about taking over the world. So it came back around,
Which I think his next stop is like Norway.
Yeah.
When he goes back out, something like that.
He's doing that whole European leg.
So when they come to you and with that setup, is your thought, listen, I can't tell you necessarily what to do, but I can tell you what not to do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just, that is for sure. It is strange. I was thinking about it on the way here this morning. Now I've done this show with y'all probably maybe 3 or 4 times. I remember the first time coming in, I was so nervous. But I feel like I'm at that level of career where all of a sudden I'm influencing these young artists. And you don't really start feeling like a veteran necessarily. When do you start feeling like that? I don't know. But I still feel excited. I was talking to my business manager yesterday, and I said, man, how many clients have you had that that have this many lives. You know, I just keep on coming, baby. I keep getting these opportunities. I ain't gonna say no.
How has your songwriting changed over the years? Because I think that's interesting too. I remember when you first came out, it was a different sound. And when do you feel like you landed on what is now what we know as Brent Cobb?
I don't know if I have yet. I think that's part of the trick is to keep searching and keep going to the well and trying to dig deeper and find out what is the core of what I am. And really the songwriting itself lyrically hasn't changed a whole lot. I was listening to the song I had, Dirt Road in Georgia, that I wrote, you know, I was like 16, and one of the first songs me and Dave ever recorded back in 2005. And it's real simple. I'm still singing about Georgia, and you know, it's still kind of country, still kind of soul, and but the music around the songs, I would say, has you know, it's slightly evolved. I figured out what to call it now. It's Southern eclectic is what I'm calling what I do. Because sometimes I rock a little bit, sometimes I roll, sometimes it's a little country, sometimes a little soul, but it's all Southern, you know.
Do you have merch that says Southern Eclectic?
It's coming.
Okay. Because if you don't, someone is about to make it and sell it for you.
Absolutely.
Get on there. TM.
We're already on it. Y'all slow down.
Okay.
We met the first time at the Country Music Hall of Fame in the Ford Theater. Mm-hmm. You, Dave Cobb, Mark Wills, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band down there one night.
I'm so nervous.
The backstory, if you would, on how you and Dave realized it was a funeral? You attended a funeral when you realized that you were related?
Mm-hmm. But
you knew of each other.
I didn't know of him.
Oh, okay.
I imagine he didn't know of me either. It was his grandmother that passed, and it was my great aunt. We're talking about Dave Cobb here, out there in Radio Land, who is, you know, producer of Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, and a pile of other, Shooter Jennings, Randy Carlisle, Oak Ridge Boys. That's right. And and so we're at this funeral, and my whole family's musical, and word got around the funeral that we had a cousin there from L.A. who was a big-time L.A. record producer, and I was, you know, young, Southern, and slightly arrogant, and so after the funeral, I was like, "I hear you're a big-time record producer, man. What you produced?" And Dave was. He seemed humble. I know now that he wasn't quite as humble as he acted. You know, he was just good at pretending. And but he was like, "Oh, well, I did this and that, and I just did this Shooter Jennings Put the O Back in Country album." And man, it was the only album me and all my buddies were listening to. It was such cool country, you know. And for those who don't know, that's Waylon Jennings' son. Mm-hmm. And it kind of blew my mind and shut my mouth. And so then. After this funeral, I offered him a little 6-song acoustic demo, shamelessly, and he reluctantly listened, played it for Shooter, started the whole thing. They wanted to fly me to L.A. and make an album. That was 2005. It's only taken me nearly 20 years to get to the bottom. I'm just glad to be here.
That is Brent Cobb, and we're going to play Southern Star. We'll watch it as well on video for folks who are on Circle Television this morning and listening all over the world on WSM Radio. And Southern Star, when you see that, immediately you burst into Alabama's Oh Southern Star. Totally different song.
For sure.
And when it popped up on my phone, the video for it the other day, I thought, what studio is he in? And I asked you when you came in this morning, and you responded.
Capricorn, and down in Macon, you know, the home of Otis Redding and Little Richard, and of course the Allman Brothers recorded there, and
Marshall Tucker, Wet Willie.
Skinnerd recorded down there. Yeah, Wet Willie.
Kenny Chesney's first deal was on Capricorn.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a cool, man, that town's cool. The studio's cool. When I first went in there in 2017, it was unsafe to walk into. And Mercer, the college, had just bought it, and it was dilapidated. But we walked around, and a couple years later, they had renovated it. They kept a lot of the old original stuff. They got a lot of vintage gear. They're all just super cool people. And, I produced Adam Hood's album there that we did. And, I was able to play the Capricorn Revival show with Taj Mahal, and Jimmy Hall was on it. And it was awesome, man. It's a great studio. It's not just a part of history. It's living history right now. You know, it's still current.
So in this song, what is your Southern Star, Brent?
Well, so as we've said, I've been around world for a long time. I've left home, and anytime I got lost, I'd just think about all the stuff back home, like just all the normal Southern stuff, the stars, all that out in that big sky.
So your Southern star is your true north.
That's the whole thing. A lot of folks, when they get lost, people go, well, if you look, trying to get back home, look for the Northern Star. I'm from the South, so I look for the Southern Star.
And you're going to see it and hear it right now on WSM Radio and Circle TV all over the world from Brent Cobb.
Under the Southern Star, I hear all of my scars as cicadas sing. Ain't it the sweetest dream? Winding kudzu bands untangled of my mind. How beloved is my home, sweet home.
Brent Cobb is here, a resident of Nashville for a period of time, back home in Georgia. Are you back home where you grew up in Georgia?
Yep.
What town?
Americus, Georgia.
Oh, Danny Reeves.
There you go.
Dan
That's
Reeves
right. Yes,
is from
sir.
Americus, Georgia.
Yep.
But they let him get away, and he went to South Carolina to play football in college.
That's true. But then one time, me and my now wife were eating at Carter's Fried Chicken down there in our hometown, and there was Mr. Dan Reeves hanging out. So he could visit.
I was going to say, does he still keep a place, or did he still keep a place
so.
there? Mm-hmm. How about that? Well, he went on, of course, to play for the Dallas Cowboys, coach the Dallas Cowboys, and the Denver Broncos.
That's right.
Famously, along with the Atlanta Falcons. And went to the Super Bowl with both the Falcons and the Broncos.
You know more better history than I do. I just know we're from the same hometown.
He was I want to say he was a quarterback in college. When Dallas drafted him, they put him in the backfield because they had Don Meredith.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I believe you.
How big is Americus?
Not very big. Well, I say I was born in Americus. I was raised I grew up in Ellaville, and I was raised in Richland. And so Ellaville, when back then was population 1,609, and then I left. And it was 1,608 for about 10 years, 12 years. And then I came back, and we got 2 kids now. So
when you go to town, you go to Americus.
that's that's correct. Yeah.
Stoplight or flashing?
We have more. There are a handful of stoplights in Americus, but where I'm from Ellaville, which is like 10 minutes down, there's only one red light.
So where were the first place you would have played as like a teenager when you picked up a guitar and started
Like playing in there used to be
yeah.
a place called Buck's Place. There was a place called the Silver Moon, which my dad band would open a lot of shows there. Like I met George Jones in '92, and Doug Stone and Chubby Checker and a bunch of folks back then.
Oh,
so
wow.
There was these little places like that, Kirby's, them little rural honky tonks.
Oh, yeah. Get beer and pizza, right?
That's
yeah.
it. Get some best burger in town.
Yeah.
When I hear that phrase, I always love to quote Tom T. Hall when he told his mama in the homecoming.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We don't call them beer joints.
That's right.
Nightclubs are the places that I play.
Oh, no, she works for me. The girl sleeping in the back seat, in the
Yeah.
car, and, man, all that stuff. Man, that song made me cry.
All right, the pride of America's Georgia population, 16,230 Georgians that know how to act.
Mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Tell me about Slaughter Creek.
Slaughter Creek is where the creek that was behind my grandparents' house that my great-granddaddy bought after World War I for $1 an acre. It was the name of my dad's band, my uncle's band. They named it after that creek, which is a crazy name for a creek nowadays. But it didn't seem that way. You didn't think about what it was. But it is the creek I grew up crawfishing on, and still go down there. If need to get away from it all, I'll go down to the fishing hole, or the swimming hole.
So if you didn't pick up that old guitar, what would you be doing?
Oh, man.
To quote Luke Combs, your buddy.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing that.
I mean, if I had never played a guitar, then I really don't know. I always wrote, and I wanted to be a forester and go do some timber cruising. So maybe that. I don't really know though. this is what I do for work. It's what I do for relaxation too.
Well, you wrote about a Cutlass 442 in the kudzu there.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
maybe you want to be a stock car driver. Or
No,
something.
but my family, we always had junkyards and stuff around the property, and kudzu is everywhere, and so like I'm the only one that wasn't very mechanically minded out of the rest of my family can work on anything, and so anytime anybody wanted a vehicle, we'd put it together and build it from parts in the junkyard.
Is it surreal, Brent, to look out at a stadium of 70,000 people and realize there's 55,000 more people in this stadium than the town I grew up in? I mean, that's got to be crazy, right?
Yeah, that part was wild, and also, I did those 3 years opening with the Stapletons,
Yep.
Chris Stapleton, and the capacity for those crowds was 20 to 30,000 people that would be through the door for we were the first act to play the main stage at the Comb shows. It would be 20,000 people that had walked through the door, but in a place that holds 60,000 people, it doesn't seem like that many. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, first time I ever saw you live was at Ascend here in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
With Stapleton.
Yeah, that was the first Stapleton show I did, and because of that, Morgan and Chris were gracious enough to offer. Well, I guess we did okay.
I think you did.
I am reminded of Willie Nelson's tour back when Don Bowman, who was an incredibly funny man, but he was a very talented singer-songwriter. But Don would come out and do one song to open Willie's shows, and these were arena shows. They weren't stadium shows. And he'd come out and do a thing called "I'm Just Warming Up the Sound," checking out the sound. Oh. And he'd do this little thing that he had written, and he'd walk off the stage, and the flag would drop, and Whiskey River would play, and Willie would come on.
That's all you needed.
That sounds like some Aaron Ray Thier stuff.
Yeah, we love him.
Oh, yeah, that's my brother right there.
All right, we'll say good morning to Aaron as we go to the break, and thank you for stopping by to see us. Please come back.
Thank y'all.
And again, playing at the Roundup here on the 22nd. Yeah, that's the new album comes out that day. And then Brooklyn Bowl on Friday, December the 1st for our friend Brent Cobb.
How do I define all those good old times?
Thanks for listening to the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer, Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.